Hello and welcome to Random Thoughts and Observations. This is McClendon Studios. I'm your host, David E. McClendon Sr. And today I'm going to give you the first of any of blog posts that I will be doing that have to do with the Wednesday Hodgepodge. It comes from a website called From This Side of the Pond. And every Wednesday they send out some information, some questions to ask, and give you prompts for what to discuss on your blog. And so we're going to give it a go today and see how things go. Anyway, if you look at the links at the bottom of this post, if you're looking on our blog, if you look at the links at the bottom of this post, you'll see a link to the Wednesday Hodgepodge, and a special thank you for the people there at Wednesday Hodgepodge that have created this. Thank you very much. Anyway, they give us a list of questions. And the first question on the list is, what's something fun you're looking forward to in your May calendar? Okay, well, Mother's Day. Of course, Mother's Day is a very special event where we honor all our mothers and that type of thing. Well, this is my wife's 30th Mother's Day. It's the 29th with a baby actually on the outside, but the 29th Mother's Day that she'll be celebrating. And so thank you to my child bride Suzanne, wonderful mother, and thank you to all the mothers out there, my mother, and of course her mother, hi Mima, and all the other mothers out there. Thank you for all the wonderful things that you've done. Another thing in May is my youngest son's birthday. He's a Marine stationed overseas, and so we don't get to see him very much. Thank God for Skype and that type of thing. We don't get to see him very much. He's fixing to be sent out to sea, and so we'll be missing a lot of contact with him. But May is his birthday, so happy birthday to David Jr. The second question that they pose is, what's some images that come to your mind when you think of the word mother? Well, for me, I'm not an abstract thinker. I don't really think in images and that type of thing. So, to actually have some images pop into my mind, I can't really think of those. But now, some things that come to my mind when I think of mother, I remember back when Suzanne was pregnant with our babies, and then of course when she was holding the little babies and that sort of thing, and just wonderful. And I may think back to my mother and that type of thing, remembering some of the times growing up and that type of thing. But especially with Suzanne, the babies being small, of course now they're all grown up, we have an empty nest. Only grand youngins we have are two grand puppies, Bentley and Petra. So, but I want to think of that when I think of the word mother. The third question on our list is, what's something beautiful that you have or have seen that is made of glass? Well, the only thing that comes to mind when I think of something beautiful made with glass was the cake topper on top of our wedding cake. It was made hand blown in Gatlinburg, Tennessee a few months prior to our wedding. It was very beautiful. Now it's very broken. It was in a building that we had it set aside, and the building was stolen. I mean, even down to the concrete blocks, the things that the anchors that had it anchored down, the concrete blocks, the gravel up under it was all stolen. It's like a vacuum cleaner sucked it up into oblivion, and we lost a lot of things in that. One of the things was Suzanne's wedding dress. Another thing was this cake topper, and quite a few other very valuable artifacts for us. But that's what comes to my mind when I think of something beautiful made of glass, because it was very beautiful. The fourth question on this list is, was today typical? Why or why not? There's no real typical day for us. We're retired. We do what we want to do when we want to do it. We do the blogs and vlogs and go out, take pictures different places, and there's just no such thing as a typical day. We don't have to get up at a particular time. We don't have to go to bed at a particular time. We have an empty nest, so we do what we want to do when we want to do it. The only things that are typical are that we eat, we sleep, and that type of thing. And they may be boring, but they're not typical. But today was a very unusual day. It started out this morning. Suzanne and I usually go and shop at the Walmart during the early morning hours, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. And the reason for this is because Walmart, they don't like to invest in the handicapped carts, and I'm not supposed to walk at all. And they don't like to invest in the handicapped carts, so they have like maybe 5, possibly 10, and those that are charged up, there are people on, and of course they don't plug them in overnight, so the batteries run down, and you'll have several plugged in charging up, and none to use. And then of course you get kids that go in and they hop on these things and ride around because they think that it's perfectly fine to do. Well, we go in the middle of the night, and it happened to be about 4 o'clock that we went to this Walmart during the middle of the night, our Walmart here in Gulf Coast, Texas. And we go in and we do things in a couple of different shifts. We early part of the month we buy all our non-food items, cat food, dog food, toilet paper, whatever non-food items we might need for the month. I mean, those things are easy to plan. If you look at our blog, The Poor Redneck, we talk about planning different things, the expenses and budgeting it out. Anyway, so we go through and we get all the non-food items, and we get phone cards because we use the prepaid phone cards because we find it to be considerably cheaper for us to use the prepaid phone cards rather than use the contract plans. It costs us $30 a month unlimited for talk and text, no data. But we don't use data, so that works out fine. Anyway, the reason we do that, going breaking it down into 2 shifts, one is because there's not much space in the baskets for the ride-on carts, and 2, because you have to take the phone cards through a live cashier. You can't go to the self-checkers, and we like the self-checkers. Anyway, so we go through the line for the checkout person. First of all, when we come in, I have Suzanne give me her keys because she doesn't have any pockets. I have pockets. I put her keys in my pocket. She drove to the Walmart using her keys. Her pocketbook was in the back seat. She gets out of the car, locks the door with her keys, comes around. When we go inside the store, I reach out and she hands me her keys, and we go on about our business. Okay, so we get ready we check out, we go out to the car. I unlock the car doors with her keys. We load the stuff in the trunk. Suzanne we had gotten some Mother's Day cards for my mother and her mother, and she put those on the back seat, and she reached up between the 2 seats and got her drink. It took her a swallow, and we went back inside. I locked the door to the cars as we were going in. And now we know for a fact that I had her keys. Her keys have this little minion toy on them, and maybe I should have brought them here to show you. Anyway, so her toys have this little minion key on them, a little minion toy on them. Her keys have this little minion toy. And so we know it's her keys, and that's the only real difference between her set of keys and my set of keys is she has that minion toy. Well, we go in and we buy all our regular food items, and we go through the self-checkout. We go through the self-checkout because one thing we hate is for you be checking out with your food and the cashier and wipe their nose on the hand and then reach down and get your stuff. Invariably the cashier you go to has a cold, a very prolific cold, very runny nose and that type of thing, and rubbing their hands on the things. And of course, a lot of these cashiers that you run into are not very hygienic. They don't wash their hands when they go to the bathroom and that type of thing. Anyway, so we like to, when we have food, to go through a self-checker whenever possible. So we get done at the self-checker and we go out, and I reach in my pocket looking for the keys to hand to Suzanne, and they're not there. I have my keys, but not her keys. We look all around in my pockets, and they're not there. Okay, so we go back into the self-checker where we just been, look to see if maybe I laid them down at the self-checker, and we hadn't. I hadn't. After looking around a little bit, we go out to the car and put the groceries in the car, and we go and do a thorough search inside the store. We retrace our path completely. Okay, after we trace our path completely, we tell the different employees that we run into, hey, ask them, have you seen the keys? Got a little minion fob on them, that type of thing, and nobody's seen them. Anyway, so we go around, we ask everybody, have you seen the keys? They have a little minion toy on them. Have you seen the keys? And nobody's seen them, but they actually break off and start looking for the keys. Quite a few of the employees, as a matter of fact, most of the employees stop what they're doing and go to look for our little minion friend. Well, we look around, hadn't found it. We go through the store at least 4 times. We walked the entire store completely, everywhere we went, completely, and even places we didn't go. And all the employees, all the stocking crew, are, while they're stocking, keeping an eye out for them. Well, we didn't see it, so we decided what we'll do is we'll go home, we'll unpack all the groceries, maybe we put them in the bag with some of the groceries. So we go home, we unpack the groceries, there's nothing. Okay, so then Suzanne checks all my pockets, she pats me down, frisks me to see if maybe she can find them, and she doesn't. So then I take off my clothes and go through each individual pocket, each individual part of my clothing, very carefully to see if maybe I'd stuck them somewhere else, and I hadn't. Anyway, so we grab grab a handful of business cards. We go back up to the Walmart. We look around, and each employee that we see, we hand a business card and say, hey, we have a set of keys that's missing. We'd like to find these keys, and we describe them to them, and we continue looking. We went through the store again about 5 more times, and by this time I'm riding on a cart, so I'm not as tired as Suzanne, but Suzanne is absolutely exhausted. Well, anyway, to make a short story long, as I very often do, we decided to just go home. We left a card with everybody there. We thought sooner or later somebody's bound to find these. Sooner or later somebody's bound to turn them into customer service. And so we decided to go home. Well, we get out to the car, and Suzanne decides, well, she'll look in her pocketbook to see, just on the outside chance that they're there. It's not possible. It's not even likely. So she looks into her purse, and there it is, laying right there on top. Now, the purse has been locked in the car the whole time. All while we're in the Walmart, the purse was locked in the car, so it wasn't possible for her to just stick her keys in her purse. And it wasn't possible for her to have stuck them in there when we went out with the non-food items, because I had the keys. And she didn't even go to that side of the car. Anyway, we don't know how this happened. We don't know what happened. I'm sure the employees there at Walmart think we're losing it, and maybe we are, but not in this case. I mean, we know for a fact that I had her keys when we went in there. We know for a fact she's very particular about having her keys to drive the car with. That way she knows if she has her keys, she knows that everything is fine. She knows that we're not going to end up leaving them or locking them someplace and that type of thing. So anyway, to make the short story long, we did find them, and then we went back into Walmart to tell everybody that we found them. We were happy, and everybody, well, where'd you find them? Of course, we had to explain. Anyway, so no, it wasn't a typical day here at the McClendon household. Okay, number 5. What is a quality you wish you could have more of? Now, judging from that story that I just told you, I'd have to say the word is probably brevity, because I can't tell you anything in less than 500 words. Often we'll see things that will say, describe in 500 words or less. I can't even say my name in 500 words or less, much less describe something in 500 words or less. Twitter, I'm completely lost on Twitter. 140 characters? I can't say anything in 140 characters. How am I going to squeeze anything in? So typically I'll tweet something, look at this, and that type of thing. Anything that has less than 500 words, I can't handle it. So brevity is not a quality that I have. Item number 6, what's the next major purchase you need to make? Will it happen in the month of May? Well, we're incredibly poor. The Poor Redneck explains that, and that's our other blog, or one of our other blogs at the Poor Redneck, where we're just getting started to recommend ways to live on a budget, and we really do have to live on a budget. But the next major purchase that we would want to make is a house in the middle of nowhere, where we don't have neighbors for miles, where we can step outside and not breathe the smoke of exhaust or people smoking in houses nearby and that type of thing. So the next major purchase, if we were able to do that, would be a house in the middle of nowhere. We're paying for our car, a little Zoomy, beautiful Ford Fiesta, and so that no other major purchases are needed. We don't have a washing machine, we don't have a dryer, but those would just run the electric bill and water bill up. So we wash everything by hand. Anyway, and that's part of a choice and part of just necessity right now, but we'll get there. Anyway, no major purchases expected in the near future, but when we do make a purchase, it's going to be hopefully for some land and then to put a house on it. Okay, what responsibility, job, work did you dislike when growing up but has proved helpful to you as an adult? Well, I can't really say that anything was disgusting or a problem or tedious or whatever when I was growing up. We all had chores. My sister had chores. My brother didn't. No matter how old he was always too young to do that. He'd be 45 years old, which was just a few years back for him, and he'd be too young for it. But you can't expect him to do that. My parents were just like, leave him alone. He's just a baby kind of thing. But we mowed the grass and we worked out in the yard, and my mother planted this flower garden, and my father laid out the flower garden. It looked like a wagon wheel in the backyard. It was huge, and it had individual beds to be inside the spokes, and the spokes were paths. And so we worked on that, and now I kind of enjoy working in the yard when I can. Of course, I'm not allowed to walk right now, so I can't really get out in the yard and work much. But we enjoy that. Suzanne enjoys it. I enjoy it, and that's one of the things that we really do enjoy now. And my sister and I were always tasked with, y'all go mow the grass. And there's an interesting story on Random Thoughts. It's just in print right now. I haven't made a video for it, but there's an interesting story about one time when my sister and I were mowing the grass. We divided up the chores. I had the backyard and the smaller side yard. She had the front yard, which was smaller than the backyard, and the larger side yard. And we'd each mow one of our sections and then take a break while the other one mowed, and we would do that. We usually had to mow every afternoon or every week. And then later, we had a Western Auto store in Ivy, South Carolina. Hello, Ivy. We had a Western Auto store in Ivy, South Carolina, and everybody except my brother had chores. You'd get up in the morning, you'd make your bed. Your room had to be spotless. That's the way we were. My father had been a training instructor, which is like a drill instructor, training instructor in the Air Force. So everything had to be spit spot. When you get done with eating, you wash the dishes. You don't leave dishes to sit. You get up, you wash the dishes. You vacuum, you sweep, you mop, everything. That's done every day. You vacuum every day. You sweep every day. You mop every day. You wash the dishes every time you eat. You don't leave them. You don't leave the house with dirty dishes in the sink, that type of thing. You just don't do it. It's not done. And washing clothes. We grew up learning how to wash clothes and that type of thing, and it's nice to be able to know how to wash clothes. Anyway, but those are the different things that have helped me in later life, as far as, they're not such a drudgery now, because I remember doing them as a kid. Hey, if you're a 10-year-old child and you can do this, then why can't a 105-year-old man, or whatever I am now, be able to do that? Anyway, so, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoy it now. Just not able to do quite as much of it as I used to. Okay, and then a random thought. Well, this week is Mother's Day, and so my random thought would be Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Thank you especially to my child bride, Suzanne, and I call her my child bride because when we first met, I was a senior and she was a freshman in high school at Crescent High School, and that's where we met. Anyway, so she's my child bride because she was just barely a teenager when I met her, and I was almost out of being a teenager at that time. So she's my child bride, and the love of my life. She was a great mother, great cook, great wife, great everything. And so thank you to her. Thank you to all the mothers out there for all that you do. Enjoy, if you're still have your kids at home, they're growing up, enjoy your kids. Take the time. You're going to miss this. The song "You're Gonna Miss This" comes to mind a lot. Here we are, like I said, with an empty nest, and although it was a lot of work having the youngins, it was a lot of fun too. And if you look at some of our recent posts, like making a diaper out of newspaper, you'll see, it was a lot of an adventure too. There was a lot of things that you do, and at the time it's really gross, it's really terrible, but later on you look back and say, wow, that was fun. Good times, good times. Speaking of that, good old days, these are the good old days. No matter where you are, these are the good old days. You can't live in the past, but you can reminisce about the past. But especially if you've got you're a young family, a young mother, a young father, and you think back, well, back when I was in high school, so and so, and that sort of thing. And I do that quite often, is remember back when I was in high school. But these, if your kids are young, these are the good days. These are the things that really mean the most. Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all of you out there, all you mothers. Drop us a line, give us a tweet, or comment on the blog. You can send us an email to gindysvideos@gmail.com. That's GINDYSVIDEOS at Gindy's. Well, you'll figure it out. It's GINDYSVIDEOS at gmail.com. gindysvideos@gmail.com. Drop us a note, let us know, and thank you for watching, and happy Mother's Day. This is a Federal Trade Commission required notice. When you click on an advertisement that is displayed with this video, or just before it, we receive a small commission. Sometimes, if you merely watch an ad, we receive commission. If you purchase anything by clicking on links on any of our websites, we receive a commission as well. These great redneck coffee mugs are available at www.cafepress.com/redneck for president. We receive a commission off of them as well. You can also purchase buttons, yard signs, etc. from that website.